Hey there. I want to share with our team how we got to this place of Silt Wine Company. This beautiful barn, this beautiful tasting room. There's a lot of history. In fact, this barn is now recognized as a historical landmark federally. It's on a list. We did a lot of work to do that, make that happen. And it's a historical building registered with the state of California. So we got to talk about how it all began. And you've heard us say I'm a fourth generation farmer here in Clarksburg. My great grandfather moved to Clarksburg in 1923. He and his good friend Jim Wadsworth flipped a coin, literally. And the winner, my grandfather, chose which parcel of the two available parcels to them he would take. And we now call that the home ranch. And almost 10 years ago now, my brother and I, David and I, ended up buying Jim Wadsworth's parcel and brought it back into the family. So we have some deep history here. We've been farming here in Clarksburg for over 100 years now. And so to get to the point where we have a beautiful tasting room, there's been a lot of legacy and history. My great-grandfather first moved in 1923. My grandfather, and he was a sharecropper. He actually worked for the United States government, traveled around the world, helping other farmers learn how to farm. He became very well known in the sugar beet industry. And if you've been here long enough, you know there's the old sugar mill. My great-grandfather helped make that happen. My great-grandfather is George H. Wilson. My grandfather is George David Wilson, and he went by Dave or David. And my grandfather took the next step in our family legacy by starting an actual corporation called Wilson Farms. My uncle will say Wilson Farms is the golden goose. I don't know about that. It's farming. Farming is very difficult. But Wilson Farms is the family entity that helped produce everything that we've come to know in Clarksburg that's attached to our family. We farm about 1,500 acres now, and that 1,500 acres, 97% of that fruit, we sell to other wineries that build national wine labels out of our family's fruit. My grandfather, Dave Wilson, with his dad, my great-grandfather, purchased this ranch, this Utter Ranch, we call it. He purchased it from a dairyman. This is an old dairy barn. You can actually see some footprints in the cement. We've kept them there for that nostalgia and history and legacy. And my great-grandfather and grandfather purchased this barn or this property. It's about 300 acres from John Utter, the dairyman. And they farmed it. They actually helped create more farmable land. They leveled it all. They were planting sugar beets, corn, tomatoes, alfalfa. And then my grandfather, learning from the Bogle family, Warren Bogle, decided in 1970 to plant wine grapes. And this ranch was the first ranch we planted wine grapes on. And we planted those grapes for Don Sebastiani, was one of the first wineries we sold fruit to. So that started in 1970, and we kept on growing, kept on planting. This ranch was our wine grape ranch. And at the time, we farmed about 3,000 acres. And my father came and started working for Wilson Farms in right around 1978, I believe. My father is Gavin Ogilvy, and hence we bring the Ogilvy name into the Wilson family. And he farmed helped build our company, build the Wilson company to what it is today. And he really took us to the next level. My dad was a very smart man. He passed away now, but he was a very smart man, and he really could think well on how to grow the company. And then through life happens, my father had to depart from the family farm, and my Uncle Ken was already working for Wilson Farms, and he really oversaw a lot of the grape businesses and grape growing. and he became a very good wine grape grower and very focused on quality. And that's been a staple of our family business. We don't grow just for quantity, just to get high yields, right? That's definitely a way that works. And there's plenty of farmers that do that. We want to grow for wineries that want quality, and we want to represent Clarksburg well. And my Uncle Ken and my Uncle Mark and my mother really took over the family business back in about 2000. They stopped working on row crops like tomatoes, sugar beets, and corn, and they just focused in on the wine grapes. And so my brother and I returned to the family vineyards, the vineyards our grandfather planted back in 2014. And David oversees all production, and I oversee all the business side of things and trying to grow our businesses. And I get to learn from my uncles, learn from my grandfather for a few years before he passed away, and been able to really grow the Wilson legacy to the next step. And that next step was not just being farmers anymore. When David and I came back to the family business, we took a hard look at the books and a hard look at the direction of the wine grape growing economy, and we recognized we too needed to get into the wine game. And so when we came back, we told our uncles it's time to get in the wine game. And the next video we shoot, I'm going to start talking about the fun stuff, the wine, and how we got there. Cheers.